patch, and a lot of stuff is changing. But this build is still easy to do, cheap to make, and you can still profit from it right now. At the end of the video, though, we'll talk about some of the changes that's going on and what we need to do to make sure that our sustain is going up. So first thing, Magicka Nightblade tank. It's kind of a hybrid. I'd say 80-20 on it, but Magicka is the main part of it. It works decently on bosses. Great for AoE. Let me get my food back up. You can do whatever you want to do with it. It can solo anything that doesn't require another player to get you out of a mechanic. It can handle anything. It's just the DPS is low, so it's going to take you some time on it. But if you're trying to get in the dungeons, you're trying to get those quick keys, you know, key farming, whatever you want to do, or if you're just new to tanking and you want an easy mode tank and you don't want to spend a lot of money to get into it, this is the way to go with it right here. So start off with it with my gear. Right now the gear is a little bit overkill because, like I said, I wanted to make it towards new players to where they're not really going to have a problem with keeping their armor up or worrying about their mitigation, worrying about their recovery. So it's running 5-piece armor master, which, yeah, I know it does take a lot of traits to make, but all you got to do is just ask in chat. Somebody will make it for you. All the armor master is sturdy. That's going to be very important with this build. What armor master does gives you health, physical, and spell resist, and then when you have an armor ability slotted, you get 5% more health, and then every time you cast that armor ability, you get 5100 more armor. As far as the rest of my gear, now this is where I'm going to be getting my bulkiness from. Everything else is all about magic recovery. All 3 of my jewelry is enchanted with Magicka recovery. It's transmutation. You can get these in a trader for like 2,000-3,000 gold each. Nobody really cares about transmutation, but the 2 and 3 piece of it give you magic recovery. And then my sword, shield on both bars, and my helmet is seducer. That way I get more magic recovery and max magicka. I could have made my shoulders also seducer, but I was just messing around with one of the monster sets, and also I kind of ran out of metal, so you know how that goes. You do not have to do all heavy with this build. You could actually do 5 heavy, 2 light, and you would still reach mitigation cap because of armor master. And also your spells will cost a lot less, and you're going to have more recovery by going to that way. It is double sword and board. Our stats unbuffed. Oh, let's see. Boss bar. Yeah, it doesn't. Almost 2400 magic recovery, 27k magic, 28k health, 15k stam, 24k on the resistances. When we buff, even if we're not using armor master, just our regular Nightblade buffs, it's going to put us at 31,000 resistances. If we do use armor master and our other buffs, it will put us at 36,000 resistances. So it is well over cap, but if you go into something that breaks your armor, you're not really going to have to worry about anything on that. But like I said, it is easy mode. So if you do run extra light, or if you'll forget to put up a buff, you have a buff on each bar that's going to get your armor up, so you're always going to be at cap some way or another. As far as your food, you want to run max stat, because you need to have your health at least 28. You need to have the stamina at 15, and your magicka is just, the more you have, the better that you're going to do with your build. Also, the Mundus Stone that we're doing is the Archer Knock for more magic recovery. And then we're also running Vampire, because once you're under 50% health, you take 33% less damage, and then you also get more magic recovery from that. Don't worry about the fire damage, because you could take it. Once you get under 50% health, it's just going to negate anything that the fire would have done to you anyway. Best race I like for tanking is Argonian. You can also do a magic race. You could do Dark Elf, that you get magicka and stamina, and you also resist fire for your vampirism. You could do High Elf because of the recovery. But with the Argonian here, you get increased max magicka, and this is the kicker: when you drink that potion, you get 12% of all of your other stats back. So you can run cheap drop potions and still got a lot of stats back off of it. Increases your health, gives you poison disease resist, and then also your healing done and healing received is increased by 5%. So effectively, your own heals are 10% better. Getting into the skills, on our boss bar, we got Swallow Soul. You can spam the ever-loving shit out of this. 1800 Magicka. Okay damage, heals you for 33% of the damage done. And then when it's slotted, you get 8% healing. That's your bread and butter on it right there. Your taunt on your boss bar also breaks the enemy's armor and spell resist. Dark Shades. I like the one that summons 2 instead of the one that summons a range one, because sometimes the boss could, you could move somewhere or somebody can accidentally get aggro for a second, and then they line of sight at your shade. So these melee shades, they always stay on top of the boss. It triggers your shadow passive, which gives you increased armor. It also gives you more health for having this shadow ability on your bar, and it reduces the enemy's damage by 15%. Absorb Magic. You don't really use this too much. It's mainly here because it's giving you decreased block cost and increased the amount of damage that you can block. But if you do use it, it's in a situation to where your healer is done. You need to stop a magic spell. Harness Magicka. This is actually decent. It's a 9k bubble and gives you back a little bit of Magicka, and it also procs your Armor Master set. Your ultimates, you don't really need to think about yourself for your ultimates, you need to think about your teammates for your ultimates. So Warhorn, it's going to help you burn down the bosses a lot faster because it's increasing everybody's stats by 10% for 30 seconds. And this, it'll stay up for 30, it'll be off for maybe 15. Because with the Nightblade, every time you drink a potion you get 20 ultimate, and then every time you hit a siphoning ability, you get more ultimate as well. And your main spam on both bars is going to be a siphoning ability. Your AoE bar, which you're just dealing with trash pulls, you just want to put out extra healing. You can also look at this as your healing bar as well. First ability, Sap Essence, does okay damage, but it heals you and your allies for 1400 plus 20% for every enemy hit. So if you're fighting 5 enemies, which is pretty common in an AoE situation, you're healing for 2800 right there for you and all of your allies every time you hit it, which is pretty awesome. It will go up because it gives you major sorcery, so it'll probably kick that up to maybe 3000. You want a ranged taunt. This one's a magic taunt on your front bar. It's a stamina taunt. This way here, no matter what your stats are at, you're always going to be able to taunt something, and not always you can reach the target for that melee taunt, so you do need a ranged one. Refreshing Path, just to get the proc from the shadow passive for the extra armor, but in addition it's going to heal you and your allies for 1000 health per second, and it also gives them major expedition, so sometimes it can help them get out of the way. Mirage, this is going to give you the 15% dodge chance, which is kind of counterproductive because of your heavy armor. You get stats back for getting hit, but this is a good way to get damage off of you, and it also gives you another 1300 armor. Siphoning attacks, the build will not work without siphoning attacks. You have to keep siphoning attacks up at all times because this is where you're going to get back your stamina. Your magic will come back from your magic recovery, but your stamina, you're not going to get it back while blocking because this build is able to perma block. It will perma block all day long. Your back bar ultimate, Soul Siphon, it's here to give you an additional amount of healing done because of the siphoning passive, which we'll get into all those passives in a little bit, but it's also if your healer dies or healer fucks up, you can pop it, you can heal your entire group. Unbuffed, it'll heal for everybody for 23k. They can also activate an ultimate and then do a little bit more damage on it. Now as far as the passives that we were talking about, some very important ones. You don't give a shit about anything in Assassination. You want everything in Shadow. So it's going to give you more recovery on everything. When you use a Shadow ability, it's going to give you 50 to 80 armor, which is going to last for like 8 or 12 seconds. Dark Vigor increases your health for every Shadow ability slotted. So I'm getting 3% more on each bar. Dark Veil increases the duration of your Shadow abilities, which is going to be your Shades and your Path. Siphoning, you want everything in here. So you get 20 ultimate when you drink a potion. Increase your max Magicka when you have a siphoning ability slotted. Increase your healing done. And then casting an ultimate, or casting a siphoning ability gives you 2 ultimate. So that's where you're going to get some of your ultimate regeneration from. Of course, you want all your passives in your one-handed shield. You want the first 3 passives in light armor if you do choose to wear light armor. So if you wear 2 pieces, it would reduce the cost of your stuff by 6%, give you 8% recovery, and then it would give you like 700 spell resist. So it is a bonus for you to wear light armor. Just 2 pieces though. Of course, you are all of your passives in your heavy armor, which this is it's going to give you more armor. It's going to give you stats back every time you take damage. Right now, I'm getting back every 4 seconds. I'm getting back 1100 magic and stamina, and then it's just going to increase your health and your healing that you receive. This is going to be important. Also, rapid mending, increase the magic and stamina. Your heavy attacks restored by 25%. That's going to be very important in the next patch coming up. All your passives and vampirism, because you want the extra recovery, you want the extra damage resist, and then from there it's just whatever you throw your stuff into. Now, as far as, like I said, getting the gear, it's easy to craft. If you're still using it on this set, well, let's go get that because I do want Takuda. If you can't get Armor Master, the 5-piece set that gives you a damage shield if your health falls below a certain point will help you. You can also use the one that while you're blocking, it gives you 20% additional dodge. Or actually, I think they changed it to 15% now. But you still want to make sure that everything else on your bar is recovery. The recovery is going to be the biggest portion of it. Let's step into something real quick and I can show you how it's running. Group. Okay, so this is really just primarily for just to show you how it's taking the damage, showing you your rotation. Now, coming up in the next set, everything is going to be, they're taking away your cost reduction passives. Oh yeah, I guess it would be good if I talk about your champion trees. You can obviously tell I'm such an amazing fucking professional at making these videos. Alright, champion points. Just to prepare myself for it to feel how it needs, I have nothing in cost reduction. I have 96 in Arcanist, and then 100 into Shadow Ward, so that way I can reduce the cost of my blocking. I'm going to be going 100 Bless, going to be going 100 into criticals on my heals, even though your critical is low, but that still helps. And then on Red Tree, bring it up to 23% on Hardy and Elemental Defender, and then put the rest of them into Quick Recovery. Pretty simple as far as your champion trees are concerned. Now, the changes that we're going to be seeing in the next patch, your block is going to be triggered twice as fast. The cost reduction is going away, and then also your recovery is going to be going down. So the sets of armor that you're going to want to use, you would want to use 5-piece Seducer, definitely. Because what it's going to do, inventory, it's going to give you recovery, max recovery, and then it reduces the cost of your magic abilities by 8%. So definitely run 5 pieces of that. Now, if you notice, we are over the armor and spell resist cap, so we don't even need the Armor Master. So if we did 5-piece Seducer, you could do also 5 pieces of Black Rose, which is the jewelry you would want to get with Telvar Stones. This way here, you're still going to be tanky because now you're wearing 7 heavy. You still want to do sturdy on everything, but this way here, your resources are still coming back. If you can't get a hold of Black Rose, then I would say going with following the same trend that we're doing before as far as stacking all the recoveries that we're doing. But the 5-piece of Seducer is definitely going to be where the game is at now for Magicka tanks. As far as what you're going to be using, you're still going to want to use Sword and Board on your front boss bar, but your back bar, you would most likely use a Destro Staff, Ice, and make sure that it's in defending. So what they've given us here, blocking is going to cost Magicka, so if our stamina is low, we can switch over and start blocking with Magicka to get our stamina back just a little bit. In addition, it's going to, which I already got 1 point there now, but it would reduce the cost of blocking by 30% and the amount that you can block by 20. And then you would want to use, this would be Elemental Drain. Whenever you're attacking an enemy that's affected by it, you're going to get back 300 Magicka every second. Your siphoning attacks, you're going to want to change it to the version that gives you back stamina, because we're going to rely on our Magicka recovery to give us back Magicka, but we're also going to slightly rely on heavy attacks from the Ice Staff to give us back our Magicka. Then we also have potions, and this is where our Guardian is going to help us out a whole lot more on that. But keeping your stamina while you're in the fight is going to be the most important thing. I would say you also want to use poisons, or not poisons, excuse me, enchantments that give you back stamina when you hit them, because we're not going to be able to perma block as much anymore. So when you do need your stamina, you want to pop your bubble, and then make sure that your stamina version of your siphoning is up. So pop your bubble, let go of block, and then just light attack 4 or 5 times. You know, or bubble, light attack, bubble, light attack, until you get your stamina back up. Then you can go back into your blocking phase. Trash, you don't really have to worry about blocking so much. So I'm just going to see how much I can pull. I know this isn't exactly the hardest of content here, but it's going to give you an example of what it's like to be blocking from 50 or 60 enemies at a time. Which is overkill, yes, but it's showing you what the class is actually able to do. Now mind you, I'm still not buffed, I'm not healing myself, so that's why I'm taking a little bit of damage. But just as soon as we come into contact with these enemies, it's going to make a hell of a difference. Alright. Catch them on the line of sight. Need a little stamina. There we go. So now from here, your stats would never go down. So I am holding block. I'm just keeping my dodge, my siphoning, and my shadow pass unprocced. And you can even time it, so that way your recovery is taken back a little bit better. So it looks like we can actually handle a little bit more. I'm not gonna do that. Alright, so we'll get our buffs back up. Then the potions that you're going to use, don't worry about using the good potions. You just get trash potions. They'll do just fine. Now I am standing in the fire. I'm standing in all of their shit. We got enemies on all sides of me, and I am blocking. Taking all their big spells. And they can't do anything to me. This is still without proccing Armor Master. There's a breakthrough there also. So when I say easy mode tank, this is definitely the first thing. Now, a lot of people want to know what was your group utility that you're trying to bring into the fight. Because you're using yourself as, you know, you're sustaining yourself, you're healing yourself. That's not necessarily the case though, because don't forget, you're healing your teammates. For this amount of people that we're hitting right here, you're healing everybody around you for about 4K every time you cast your ability. So you could take a trash healer in, or you could just take people who have common sense and their own sustain, and then you can heal your group yourself. Now I haven't even casted my ultimate once I got into the rotation here. But yeah, so you got the healing that you're providing to the group from your staff. You got the healing from your refreshing path. And then if it were a boss fight, the enemy would have their armor constantly broken. They would be doing 15% less damage. And that's for everything. Their AoEs, their big heavy attacks, whatever it is. Knowing me, because I have no sense of order in these videos, I probably forgot something, but you know how that goes. So right there, I needed a little bit of stats. I finally got people to hit. Don't want to get hit by that, so I'll just light attack a few times. And stats are back to full. So as far as if you were fighting a boss, an example of that would be you want to shade, you want to taunt, and then if you want to move them around, you could, or if you just want to lock them in place, you could. So we're going to taunt, shades on them, we're good. And that's really the basis of the build. It took me 20 minutes to talk about what some people talk about at 8, but you know, structure is amazing. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Have a good day.